Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuning in here with Sydahis, and I'm here with.
Abrakz.
And right now, he is sitting in the corner of my bedroom.
Creepy.
I know it's very creepy, but for some reason, he moved back in, and now we are preparing to stream on the 11/13 for Warlords of Draenor release. That's why I'm late. I'm sorry. I'm a week and a half late, and I have no other excuse that I'm fat and lazy.
He's been slacking.
I know. I have been. So, features of Warlords of Draenor, what we are looking forward to.
Garrisons. Gonna be pretty cool. They make it more independent, however you want to do it. It does take quite a bit to get them started. There is going to be kind of a cookie cutter kind of thing you have to start out with, just because you can only have a certain amount of big buildings, small buildings. Um, just certain things you're going to have to build to get it all started. You could build the other way, but it's gonna be tougher unless
Less
they get this fit.
proficient.
Yeah. Um,
Efficient, not proficient. What the fuck am I saying? Efficient.
so a lot of them are gonna be the same starting out.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be everyone's going to be putting on a rush for resources to get them the best gear that they can and rush on the buildings that can get them those resources or get them the gear that they're looking for. So there probably is a certain build of dirt, dirt, different buildings that will give you these resources. Like what I've been hearing is barracks in what was it called, Dwarven Mine or something like that.
Dwarven Armory or
Dwarven
something.
Armory, I think. What it gives you is like you do these missions. It gives you a crate of boxes that are sitting outside the building, and you loot these and you upgrade your followers gear level. And your followers gear level can get you to the point where they can do raiding
They
for
can
you.
basically do a raid for you. Well, a quest that would give you raid gear that's going to be
LFR equivalents or higher.
or
It's like
higher.
slightly above LFR.
If you are LFR, then they're going to be the next one up. It will be
It's like
just to
10
upgrade
above,
your gear.
like 10 eye levels above. It's not like that big of a difference, but it's a nice thing to have.
And it's probably going to be like one item each week type of thing. Um, at the
No, they're going to
most.
be daily because they're daily quests. And the equipment thing, you can get it every freaking day, every 4 hours. You can complete these the dwarven, what was it? Crap, I forgot the name. Within 20 seconds of us talking about it, it gives you these boxes every 4 hours with the crafted materials that you collect. What we don't like, racials.
Racials are basically I
Cookie cutter, dull.
yeah, I've been playing since vanilla. So the whole thing that it started out as is every race was trained to be a specific way. So every race was good with a certain thing. Now they're making it so any race can basically do anything. Um, they don't have that little extra perk to them anymore. They Some of them have a little bit of extra perk. Like, aren't gnomes still gonna have the increased mana pool?
Increase resource pool. So they now have 105 energy instead. Instead of 37k mana at level 90, they have 38k mana. If they're a Death Knight, they have 105 runic power.
First thing I ever made was an orc hunter, named Orc Hunter. Got reported, had to change my name.
I
But
remember.
I love the aspect that they had increased with axes of any type. And back then you were able to use a two-hander whenever you were a hunter.
You had to
Uh,
buy bullets.
yeah,
God, most
I.
expensive class NA.
But it was so much fun.
It was the hunters were definitely one of the funnest classes I had ever played, but I just could not afford it. I
Yeah,
got to level 48 and I just could not afford like the thousands of gold I poured on that guy trying to level him up because back then there was no LFG, there was no looking for group, there was no LFR. You can't jump into a raid, you can't do arenas at level anything below
yeah.
70, which you can now.
Well, having a level 65 Resto Druid kind of helped whenever 65 was the max.
65 was never the max. 60 was the max.
Yeah,
Then it was 60, 70, 80, 90.
tree
60,
form.
80. Derp, screw it.
Yeah, and then you got like Trent form was required back then for them.
That was understandable because they were
Yeah,
called Tree of Life, and it made sense with some of the spells. Just like Life Bloom, you're growing.
but
I'm not gonna even try to make sense of it. I'm just talking out. Just like, yeah.
honestly, I used to love how hunters had the weapon with how you couldn't shoot a bow at somebody from 2 feet away.
It
That was
made sense back then, except for the guns.
the but back to the racials. It's a thing of I liked it whenever each race had their own like they had something that made them stand out. It was something that no other race could say that they were better at really. Now they're making it to the point where no one really has that specialties and it's making it to the point where no matter who you choose, they're all going to be exactly the same.
Well, there is still those certain ratios that will stand out. Like gnomes will always have the
Attack
increased
faster.
resource pool, and no, that was just like increased haste, which they
Yeah.
gained in Draenor. But that was because they thought 5 plus energy was kind of a waste. So it kind of was. It was kind of needed. But there is some that are definitely better. Like orcs still have their increased pet damage. So they are definitely going to be better as Unholy Death Knights
But
or
then one thing they did drop is whenever you used to go marksman hunter, you would look for troll horde because they had that expertise with bows and guns. And then they actually
not
ended up
guns, just bows,
yeah, they ended up cutting out that expertise with
with the removal of
bows.
expertise.
Yeah.
Which, truthfully, I think is good. We shouldn't have to stack gems and enchants to make sure that we're able to hit a boss. I mean, that was just kind of ridiculous. And even then, sometimes you would still miss because the boss is just, it's a boss.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that giant aim shot that you're about to shoot him with? Oh, well, guess what? You missed. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I missed an aimed shot. The shot that I took 2 seconds to line up missed.
I don't know, it's just a thing of I liked having all the races a little bit different. They still are a little bit different, but it's getting to the point where they
There
aren't
is
as
no real difference between
yeah,
what race you choose.
yeah.
It's getting to that point, but it's still. I think they're trying to capture it, but they're starting to fail at it. They're taking dangerous steps. They're taking very dangerous steps to make it what they're hoping for. And what they're hoping for, in my mind, might be a wrong way to go for this.
They I know they killed half of the players in Mista Pandaria
That's because most of the people thought it was more of turning into a childish casual game, which
because they made
now
everything.
which now I think is going to make all those little kids go and cry under the bed because
See,
there is so much more difficulty now.
but I think it's so funny how whenever you go into like any trade chat and say that vanilla was harder because you had to actually work for everything,
Oh God, yeah, you
well,
had to
then
work.
they would say, "Oh, well, because we're lazy and we like to just find group and makes it 10 times faster, it's better." It's a thing of the game wasn't intentionally made for that. It was going to be a role playing game, so everything was made to be you had to go out and do it. You couldn't just teleport to a dungeon. It didn't work like that. You
It
had to
just did
actually
not.
walk over there and do it. But then they started putting in the finding groups where they would have the list of just the groups that you could get invited into and everything, and then you would still have to walk over and you could get summoned sometimes. And then they ended up putting in the aspect of dungeon finder. Um,
In my mind, I like Dungeon Finder. What I think they shouldn't have done was including LFR.
yeah,
LFR just destroyed the community's talking ability. It destroyed most of everyone's community, and we don't even talk anymore in LFR
and
or even regular raids
that's
now.
what I mean. People are basically saying that now that the game is easier to play, it's a better game. But the aspect of it at first was to you had that little bit of a challenge which made it fun. Now I see people literally going into that heroic we went into the other day.
Yeah,
We literally finished that thing in what, 15 minutes?
yeah,
And
we downed a heroic Garrosh kill
we had
because there were so many people that just were overgeared out the ass that they just did
what?
so much. We had a healer that was pulling out 60k heals per second,
Yeah. And
and that's
I think
god.
we
That's
literally
godlike.
literally I think we had two people die and that was because they stood in the fire.
No, they did not actually die because of standing in the fire. One of them died because we killed him as the raid. Because what happened was he got mind controlled. Everyone switched to him and put stacked on dots. He died before anyone was able to heal
Well, and
him.
then one person AFK'd and got ran over by the ball.
No, he didn't get ran over by the ball. He got hit by the axe whenever
Ah,
we made it to the first intervention where Garrosh cast Annihilate repeatedly. He was on the stairs running down, and if Garrosh targets a person on the stairs and you guys can't make it off the stairs, you die. There's nothing you can do to
yeah,
dodge it unless you have like flat flash. Yeah, we have flash in World of Warcraft now. Like blink or running boots or something. Just
yeah.
something to get you out of there.
But that's what I mean. I know hunters buying the arrows that sucked at first, but then you had quivers. You could hold them in. You could buy cheap arrows. You had to buy expensive ones if you wanted to really be good.
Or
But
dungeon or raid or anything. If you
yeah,
wanted to
but
get serious about hunter, you have to buy.
I just mean honestly, yeah, it made the aspect harder, but it was more realistic. That was the point of the game. They wanted to make it more realistic. That's why it was a role playing game. Now it's more of just a MMO.
Well, I don't like that. I like that the arrows don't you don't have to buy the arrows anymore because I remember whenever you had a like I had a hunter and I was trying to get him to like rating levels because so I was rating old dungeons. They would ask me what arrows I had and I would tell them I have just the basic arrows. I would get kicked because I don't want to spend 200 or 300 gold per arrow for what higher level arrows. That was just ridiculous. So we've been talking about like I don't know 5 6 minutes about World of Draenor. Let's skip on to down to League of Legends. What's going on?
Oh, new update is coming out soon for entire Rift. Actually, the way it's going to run is they said they're going to start with AI. Well, they're going to start with starting out like whenever you start a match, you go in. They have co-op versus AI is what they're going to start in. Usually the beginner intro and everything, and then they're going to move on to the regular, the classic, the classic Summoner's Rift 5v5 and normals, and then finally they're going to do the ranked because I'm guessing they don't want to mess up ranked whenever they first just throw it in there. Um, I think it's gonna be a badass update. Honestly, everything's coming in, looks really cool.
Except for the jungle items.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of items are gonna be confusing at first. We'll get used to it like normal, but new map should make everything so much easier. Honestly, it's not gonna be. You can actually walk where it shows you can walk.
Yeah, instead of they've reduced the pathing weirdly so that it used to be there would be like 16 extra pixels around this wall so you can now walk around the corner of that wall if you need to.
Yeah.
So there's sharper churns. The Baron and Dragon now actually are visibly able to damage you and you can see what's killing you
Yeah.
now instead of looking under your feet waiting for like green little bubbles to pop up above the water. By then it's already damaging you. And now you
One
can
thing I
move.
noticed that I really like of the new Summoner's Rift is the closer you get to Baron Pit, the more the jungle changes.
Yeah, how they've updated the map so much that Baron has destroyed most of the map. You can see the changes, and some of the life is flourishing down farther you go away from the Baron. So it's just so much being updated. It looks so much better.
Even watching the towers getting destroyed, they actually put in the aspect of the tower is being destroyed as you're hitting it. It's no longer just 4 hits and then a chunk breaks off. It's actually every hit's going to be taking off chunks and it's crumbling as you're fighting it. And just all these new graphics, and they matched up the color ratio in a way that the background's going to be seen last, your character is going to be seen first, and then the spells are going to be seen a little bit before your characters. So if someone's trying to shoot you from over a wall or you're trying to dodge a spell or something, you'll be able to actually see it. There is no more like trying to blend it in with the map.
They've made it more, the color spells all more vibrant, so you can easily see the spells coming out of the ground and everything.
Yeah.
So that's always going to be a good thing. So you can see whenever Lysandra is about to jump over a wall and wreck your face, or whenever you see the Rengar exclamation point above your head, or
Just little
what
things
other
like
spells
that
can
that
jump
you
across the
normally
wall that give them marking.
even the shooting spells, like I know the pictures that they keep showing are of Braum, his Q. It is actually like a pure white looking color, so you can like it's not pure white, but it's like ice, but you can see it very easily on the background, which is a more darker color. It's really vibrant. You can see it really well, and it's just going to make everything in the gameplay so much better.
Yep. Um, Closing thoughts on ranked.
The ranked, honestly, I think everyone's gonna start out and it's gonna feel a little weird at first. Um, Go do some normals first.
Or the jungle items. Let's talk about the
Yeah,
items too as well.
the jungle items. Oh god,
There is 16 different ways that you can have jungle items because we now have,
you can now smite
you
champions.
can smite champions with a piece of soap is what most people are referring to as the little red rock because it looks like a piece of soap. Just it kind of is. So what happens is now you buy a machete and you can only have 2 pots after that. Then the machete builds into these 4 different items which uh, change your smite, and that's all they do. Then those 4 items can build into 4 different enchants on each of those items, but the enchant stays the same. So it's like melee attack, AP, tank, and then this one other one is like utility or something. I don't know.
And so far, they've been saying that the way they are making this, it shouldn't really mess with your um, quality of play, like your frames per second. They said that because of the way it's being made, it should stay about the same depending on your quality setting. Your frames per second should stay about the same. It may lower it a tiny bit, but it's not going to be a huge dramatic loss because this is supposed to be a game that just about anybody can play. It's not supposed to be huge quality that's going to be you need a gaming computer to play on. This game is supposed to be made so it's free, fun to play on,
But
sometimes
broken as
free,
hell.
sometimes free. Maybe spend a few $100 on it.
What you spend like 300, 400 bucks now to buy all the champions?
Or got me there.
Just wow. Okay, let's leave it off on that comment. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Sydahis,
And Abrakz.
and we are tuning out.